Welcome to The Explainer. Episode 300, folks. We actually made it. Today we are digging into Face It, the AI, privacy, and security weekly update for the week ending July 14th, 2026. We've got an incredibly packed lineup of source material to unpack for you today, and I want to hook you right out of the gate with a pretty uncomfortable premise that connects literally all of today's stories. Here it is. The everyday systems we built purely for our own convenience? Yeah. They are quietly morphing into massive systems of surveillance and vulnerability. We're going to cover the whole shebang today, from consumer doorbells all the way up to geopolitical AI wars. We're keeping it simple, keeping it clear, and focusing entirely on the facts.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our map for today. We'll start with everyday surveillance, move over to silent threats, look at the global AI battleground, check in on the changing job market, and finally, verify what you assume. Lots of ground to cover, so let's get right to it.
Section 1. Everyday surveillance. When convenience watches back. As you'll see, we are increasingly being watched, analyzed, and categorized, both offline and online, often without having a clue that it's even happening. So let's look at the physical world first. Live facial recognition is just becoming a completely normal part of the UK shopping experience. Over 100 retailers, including massive chains like Sainsbury's, are now using a system called Face Watch. And it works like this. You stroll through the front doors, and if your face happens to match a watch list, the system instantly pings the police. We're talking within 4 seconds. Now, supporters of this tech argue it's absolutely crucial for protecting retail workers and stopping repeat offenders before a crime actually takes place. But on the flip side, privacy advocates are ringing the alarm bells. They point out that this system has a track record of misidentifying totally innocent people. Their argument is that this shifts our society into a world where you're scanned first and questioned later. You don't actually have to do anything wrong, just walking into a store to buy milk is suddenly a data checkpoint.
And that physical surveillance, well, it has a direct parallel online. I want to ask you a question. Are you human? Now, for years, you proved you were human by desperately clicking on blurry pictures of crosswalks and traffic lights, right? Well, not anymore. Because automated bots now make up a staggering 57% of all web traffic, Cloudflare's new precursor system decided to stop asking you to solve those annoying puzzles. Instead, it just quietly and continuously tracks your behavior for your entire visit. It's watching your mouse movements, your scrolling speed, even your typing rhythm. It's basically hunting for the micro inconsistencies that bots produce but humans don't. So while this does mean fewer puzzles for us, which is great, it also means your online identity is now being entirely judged by continuous behavioral surveillance.
And honestly, perhaps because of all this constant tracking, we are seeing a massive behavioral shift. 55% of Americans are now posting less on social media than they did 5 years ago. So why the drop? Well, the sources show that feeds are just overwhelmingly jammed with ads, political arguments, and AI-generated junk. It makes having an online presence feel like a total chore. But a huge driver here is privacy. Remember, every post is permanent data. Sometimes the absolute smartest status update you can make is the one you never publish. Staying quiet effectively denies free intelligence to advertisers, scammers, and all those AI models that are hungry for training data.
Moving to Section 2, Silent Threats, Exploiting the Familiar. This is where we learn to verify what we assume, because old, seemingly safe, familiar things are increasingly being weaponized against us. Picture this. A GitHub account just sits there, completely dormant, for 19 whole months. It built up age, and naturally most of us assume that age means trust, right? Well, suddenly it wakes up, and within minutes drops a one-click remote code execution bug. This is essentially a digital master key that lets hackers instantly take over a system, and it was targeting Progress Kemp Load Master. Almost immediately, cybercriminals were out there exploiting it in the wild. The massive lesson here is that in today's software supply chain era, online age is definitely not the same as trust. Attackers love dormant accounts because they totally bypass our natural suspicion. And this brilliantly illustrates how the exact same concept plays out in the physical world. Russian intelligence wanted to spy on NATO supply convoys that were moving weapons into Ukraine. So, did they burn millions of dollars trying to hack into highly secure military networks? Nope. They just looked through the security cameras and smart doorbells of ordinary homes and businesses along the transportation routes. Why did that work? Because the owners never changed the default passwords. It's wild. The systems we set up for everyday convenience, like a baby monitor or a front doorbell, often become the very systems we completely forget to secure, unintentionally creating a backdoor right into global geopolitical conflicts.
That brings us to Section 3, the global AI battleground, US versus China. Right now, artificial intelligence capability is essentially a direct proxy for geopolitical power, and it is playing out on two very distinct fronts.
On the visible front, it's all about cost cutting. U.S. lawmakers are actually investigating American companies for secretly baking Chinese AI models right into their products. You have startups like the coding assistant Cursor utilizing cheaper Chinese models like Kimi just to save some cash. Basically, the spreadsheet wins out over geopolitical alignment. But then you have the hidden front, and that is all about architecture. Rival researchers and intelligence teams are out there running millions of fake conversations with American AI to quietly extract its most valuable design secrets.
This hidden front attack is what's known as prompt extraction, or prompt leakage. See, attackers don't actually need to smash their way into a secure server. Instead, they just craft these highly careful, manipulative conversations designed to basically coax the AI system into voluntarily handing over its hidden system prompts and internal rules. Think about it. If you can understand exactly how a rival's best model was built, you get a massive shortcut to just copy their design or find their weaknesses without having to start from square one.
All right, Section 4, the changing job market, surviving the AI era. With AI reshaping the global landscape, it's also dramatically reshaping our careers. Now, the media loves to shout that AI is destroying jobs, but the data tells a much more nuanced story. AI is actually not the main villain in today's weird job market. What we really have is a massive skills gap paradox, and it's being driven by shrinking demographics. Birth rates are down, boomers are retiring. The jobs actually do exist, but there is a massive disconnect. Recruiters are saying that simply cannot find workers, while new grads are saying they cannot find jobs. Why? Because employers have slowed down their hiring, and now they demand candidates who have immediate practical skills. They are way less willing to train people on the job. So graduates have the fancy degrees, but they lack the applied experience to actually bridge that gap. So what practical skills do employers actually want right now? Well, one of the hottest jobs in the market is applied AI engineering. And listen to this. Just writing clever prompts? Yeah, that's dead. It is not about asking the AI a smart question anymore. It's about building evaluations, or evals. This means you are building report cards for the AI to measure if its decisions are safe, consistent, and logically sound. Because an AI that processes an invoice perfectly, but then quietly alters a bank account number, that is a very dangerous AI. Companies desperately need harness engineers who can catch these models when they quietly make those kinds of mistakes.
Now what's really interesting here is this massive number, 70,000. That is exactly how many people applied for the Pentagon's new paid cyber apprenticeship within just days of it opening. What made it so crazy popular? Well, it required absolutely 0 degrees, 0 previous cybersecurity experience, and no prior skills. All you needed was aptitude and citizenship. This really proves that the talent shortage in tech, it's largely a gatekeeping problem. The interest is absolutely there. Opportunity and entry-level on-ramps are the real bottlenecks.
Let's move to our final section and see how this all builds together. Section 5. Verify what you assume. The upshot. We've covered 9 distinct source stories today, jumping from shopping surveillance all the way to the global AI war. So let's synthesize this into a clear, actionable mindset for your everyday life. So the crucial point is taking action based on today's explainer. First things first, update your smart devices and change those default passwords immediately. Seriously, do not let your doorbell become a geopolitical liability. Second, audit your software dependencies. Remember, a dormant account suddenly waking up is a major red flag, not a reassurance. Third, if you're looking at your career, focus on building practical skills like AI evals and harness engineering rather than just waving a diploma around. And finally, keep in mind that in an age of continuous behavioral tracking and endless data brokering, treating your silence online as a strategic asset, that is a very, very healthy instinct.
We're going to wrap up with this quote from cybersecurity expert Bruce Schneier. Security is not a product, but a process. Every single failure we looked at today, the hacked doorbell, the dormant GitHub account, the AI leaks, they all happened because people treated security as a fixed state. They bought a thing, they plugged it in, and they just assumed it was safe forever. But security is an ongoing practice. So I want to leave you with a quick challenge today. Pick one familiar thing in your digital life that you set up and just haven't touched in a while. Maybe it's a smart camera, an old password, a forgotten account. Go process it. Because if you aren't managing your digital footprint, who exactly is doing it for you? Think about it. Thanks so much for joining me on The Explainer. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you next time.